everybody on set is sort of taken by the awe of what we're experiencing. And there's a level of authenticity. And then as a director, it allows me sort of to document that. It feels real, and I can not have to manipulate it. I can sort of just watch it, which is what's one of the things that really shines through in this film.
Anthony, amazing job on Surrounded. Congratulations. It's a throwback character piece. You don't see Westerns too much anymore, and this film was fantastic. Can you talk to me about your experience with music videos? Because how did that help you kind of tell this story through a visual lens?
Well, firstly, thank you for being here. It's nice to meet you, and I appreciate all the nice things you said about the movie.
Absolutely.
I think music videos is a tool you learn. It's related and unrelated. You learn how to create in the moment. You learn how to create in a short frame of mind. But does it teach you to be a great filmmaker? Not usually. But can you learn things and pull things there that help you become a better filmmaker? Absolutely. And I think that my willingness and my commitment to my style, which is really a little less formal. I don't shot list or storyboard like a lot of directors do. I sort of, like to feel what's happening. I like to rehearse a lot. I like to do a lot of pre-work on location and with my sub teams to sort of, heads of departments to sort of get everything ready. And then we get to set and sort of start to let the reins go a little bit and explore. And that allows me to feel really creative and not like I'm just executing something, which sometimes when you plan too much, certainly in this day and age with VFX and green screen, it's sort of like you're just executing shots and not actually allowing performance to happen. And there's the middle of this movie is very like a theater, it's like theater.
Now, what drew you to the Western genre and the story of Surrounded?
Funny enough, I wrote my senior thesis in film school on Shane to Unforgiven. So I've had sort of like ingrained in me these Western tropes, and whether it's doing a Western or a movie like, let's say, Die Hard, which is kind of a Western in the middle of it. When I read this script, I saw the opportunity to take the classic tropes and sort of turn them on their head and then lay this filter of sort of like this modern social context on top of it, which created to me a really interesting conversation because you're watching something not of our time, but related to our time still. And, it allowed me as a filmmaker to exercise the muscle of action and drama and sort of take you into the depths of this world. And once we got there, the movie sort of slows down. It makes you think, it makes you listen, it forces you to sort of evaluate these characters that you're so convinced are good and bad, and as the movie goes on, that starts to sort of turn on its side.
I love that you said that, where it could be the same thing in the film. There's moments that the music kind of stops and there's silence, and it really does make you take in the characters. Can you talk about your use of music versus silence in this film?
Yeah, I think, I love score. I love the layer that music provides in film way before I ever directed a music video. But I think, again, I have a lot of experience putting sound and image together. So I try to exercise that muscle without over-exercising it. And I think what we tend to do is I work with a brilliant composer named Robin Hannibal, and I think he composed about 50 tracks for us based on some inspiration that I gave him. I generally make long playlists before I make a movie, and I use that playlist as sort of my soundtrack, going to set, going to meetings, home at night when I'm thinking. I let that sort of music populate my feelings and my creative process. And then sort of when you make the movie, you sort of like relook at those songs and go, oh, that works, that doesn't work. Let's recreate this. Let's add something here. And you start to get this tableau. And then you realize, oh my God, there's too much music in the movie. And you start hitting mute this, mute that. And you start to pull the layers apart. And hopefully you get as this beautiful symphony. I'm really proud of the soundscape of this movie. And obviously, we're lucky enough to have Ben Harper compose a couple songs for us in the opening and closing. It was very, very fortunate, the music element of this film.
Now, this is really a focused character piece. And I think Letitia's fantastic in this movie. Can you talk about working with Letitia to craft the character of Mo Washington?
Listen, all actors are different. And Letitia has a remarkable power and energy in her spirit. And when she decides to show it to you, you really see it. She has a button that she can push that sort of at once is intimate and quiet. At the next is like 10 feet tall. And she's very small and very sort of like keeps to herself. Even in this movie, you really feel like she hides under that hat. And when she pulls that gun out, she lets you know. And when she wants you to know how she feels, and when that passion is burning, she lets you know. But I think if you see the amount of nuance in the performance, when Michael Kay's character comes in, you see how she becomes like a little girl again. That sort of duality is really what we imagined, and I couldn't imagine making them. I really couldn't. Once I met her and once I spent time with her and developed sort of the script with her, I couldn't imagine making the movie with anybody else.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, because there's moments where she plays small because she doesn't have a ton of dialogue. All of the acting is really through her eyes and emotions, and she does such a phenomenal job with the character by playing small. And then when she needs to be big, it's all told through action, which I found. And when she does have something to say, it's extremely important. So I thought her performance was outstanding. What did she bring to the role that wasn't necessarily on the page?
Look, I mean, she brought a layer to the film and a perspective from the film as a woman of color, that I could never have done, or Andy could never have done. But I think that, it was so lock in step with where we wanted to go. And she's so clear in her choices that, she just really brought color to what were words. Brilliant words, but there's an authenticity to it. And I think, to me, that work you can do with an actor, you're already starting the character 4 months, 5 months before you make the movie. So like you're ingraining them into the piece, and you're seeing the person Letitia start to disappear into the character Mo. And that's really the dream. When you get there, it's like they've transformed,
Now, you wrote your college thesis around a couple of classic Westerns, which are phenomenal. Shane, I know you included. What surprised you the most about making a Western and making Surrounded?
Making a Western is very difficult. It's probably the hardest genre to make, because you sort of commit yourself to being out in the middle of nowhere in the elements. This one in particular had only, kind of 2 small scenes inside. The rest of the movie was outside. We filmed the movie in December. It was very cold, but it was dramatic. And I am someone that's really committed to making sure the visuals feel authentic. I wanted the actors to be immersed in the grandness of this very rural location. We could have gone to places way closer that were easier and would have been easier on production, easier on everybody's schedule. But I knew that this background and this environment had to be overwhelming. So whether it was when you get there in the morning, you watch the sun come up, or it's at lunch, or it's in between takes, or it's in the middle of the take, everybody on set is sort of taken by the awe of what we're experiencing. And there's a level of authenticity. And then as a director, it allows me sort of to document that. It feels real, and I can not have to manipulate it. I can sort of just watch it, which is what's one of the things that really shines through in this film.
Absolutely. Listen, as a fan of the genre, I think you nailed it. Like, it has those 3:10 to Yuma vibes, but it's something completely fresh and new, which I applaud you for. So, Anthony, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time and your words, Joe. Appreciate it.